So this is question 7.2. It's a 4-marker question. It means that you have to show your calculations here. The kayak moves forward with an initial momentum of 48 kilograms meters per second. Let's say initial momentum is P, small letter P. Initial momentum will say Pi is equals to 48 kilograms meters per second. So Pi, remember momentum, the letter or the variable that represents momentum or the symbol for momentum is P. So I is for initial, since they told you that the kayak moves forward with an initial momentum of, which means we'll say P for momentum, I for initial, meaning that the initial momentum is 48 kilograms per meters per second, then we'll represent it as Pi. Good. And let's continue to read the equation. The person uses a paddle for 18 seconds. What is it that is measured in seconds? It's time. I know. Time is 18 seconds. 18 seconds. Then now the average force of the kayak during the time is 12 newtons. They told you that the average resultant force is 12 newtons. They told you about the resultant force. Therefore, we'll say F, which means the resultant force, but in normal circumstances, the resultant force is represented by Fr. But in this case, we'll just say F, which means it's the force or the resultant force is 12 newtons, right? 12 newtons. So now we have our list. We know that the initial momentum is 48 kilograms per second, the time is 18 seconds, and the force, which is the resultant force, is 12 newtons. Then now the question says to you, calculate the final momentum of the kayak. Let's represent final momentum with P final, of which is what they want. They gave us P initial, they gave us time, they gave us force, and they want you to find P final, which means the momentum, final momentum. So what you need to do when you get here, if you are confused, you don't know which formula to use, you go to your formula sheet and check any formula that has to do with PFT. Let's check. This is our formula sheet. Remember, we are looking for a formula that has to do with PTF. Where is it? If we check here, we'll find that this is the one, PTF. There's no other formula that has to do with PTF except this one. F for force, P, which means for momentum, but there's a delta here, which means change in momentum, as it's written here, and T for time, meaning that you have to use this formula. Then the formula is F is equals to change in momentum over time. Let's check it here. F is equals to change in momentum over time. Then now, what do we mean by change in momentum? By change in momentum, we mean change in momentum is equals to momentum final minus momentum initial. This is change in momentum. Then now what you need to do, you just substitute, instead of putting the change in P, you put change in F minus change in, momentum after final momentum minus initial momentum, which means you've put all these variables in the formula, which means we'll have F is equals to P momentum final minus momentum initial divided by time. So what you do now is just substitute. You have your F, you are given your F, of which you will say is 12 is equals to, the question wants you to find final momentum. You don't know final momentum, but the question requires you to find final momentum. Then you will write your final momentum that you don't have minus initial momentum. You have it, you are given initial momentum, of which is Pi, that is here, which means it will be 48, then divide by time, T, you are given time, of which it is 18. Then now what you need to do here, from here, you need to solve, sorry, 1 second, good. you need to solve for final momentum. Since the question requires you to find final momentum, you need to solve for final momentum. Then what you do, you can cross multiply, it's okay, or you can multiply both sides by 18. Multiply both sides by 18 and multiply both sides by 18 to remove this 18. Then I will have 12 multiplied by 18 just to remove the fraction. Then I will have 216 is equals to final momentum minus 48 here, because this one is being removed. Then now, since I want to be left with final momentum, since I am solving final momentum, what I will do, I will take this negative 48 to the other side so that I will left with this. So final, I will have a 216 plus, when the negative 48 goes to the other side, so that I will be left with PF here, which is final momentum. The sign changes to plus 48 since it went to the other side. Then I will left with P final. Therefore 216 plus 48, then the answer is equals to 264. Therefore final momentum is equals to 264 kilograms meters per second. That is the unit for momentum. Fortunately enough, they gave you the unit here. So your answer, you just put your answer here, is 264. Done. Then you get your 4 marks. Great. Let's go to the next question.